All right, I think we're going. Welcome back to another one of these things where we're just kind of talking about whatever comes to mind. Hope you're having a wonderful Monday. Had a pretty good weekend, honestly. Had a little bit of a family thing on Friday, which is why didn't post a video on Friday. What would normally end up being like a, happy thing. And most of the weekend was pretty happy. Over the weekend was Heather's birthday, so we were just doing various activities, playing games, did a socially distant breakfast out, which was something we haven't done in over a year at this point. So that was actually kind of fun to do again. Just go get breakfast. It's just fun to go get breakfast. I don't know why. Like just good waffles or pancakes, or in my case I usually get like a skillet or something. I normally don't have that kind of a breakfast. I usually just have toast and out of the box sausage that you just put in the freezer, or turkey sausage. So it's whatever. It was I like that breakfast. It's very satiating for me, but it doesn't quite match up to going out for breakfast. So we've definitely missed that, and we're halfway to vaccination at this point. So it's hopefully we might be doing a bit more of that, as we get over that full vaccination hurdle. Maybe sometime halfway through the year, maybe we'll start doing it a little more regularly. But we wanted to do something a little special since it was her birthday, so went ahead and did that. But yeah, today's Monday. Today's actually my last day not working for somebody else other than myself. So tomorrow's my first day with my new employer. Catching up on all this stuff. I got all my paperwork. I should be getting my laptop in the mail today. So cool stuff. We'll see what kind of happens with orientation tomorrow. I'm kind of looking forward to it, kind of nervous about it a little bit. I don't know why starting a new job feels like going to a new school or something. It's just will I fit in? Who will like me? Will I enjoy any of my classes or tasks that I'm assigned and things like that? But the more I think about it, I'm just I'm probably going to like it. Even though I'm doing a lot of planning for prismatic planet stuff and building out this new platform for environmental education and things like that. I got enough planning stuff done that I'm able to do more actual just get it working type stuff. So I've been actually doing programming. I think some at the end of the day on Thursday, some at the end of the day at the beginning of the day on Friday, and quite a bit of it today. And I never really remember, after I've been away from programming for so long, that I just genuinely enjoy doing that kind of work. It's all right, I've spent a lot of my time as a developer designing things and helping other people build something that I've kind of forgotten that I just enjoy making things too. So giving myself tasks to go do stuff is just it's so easy for me to be okay, what am I working on today? All right, we're working on this thing. I'm just gonna start typing away, and then 3 hours go by. That's how this morning was for me. It's just I'm gonna keep going, I'm gonna keep going, I'm gonna keep going, and it's it's noon, and I'm oh geez, I gotta have lunch so I can take the dog out, and then I gotta get on the call for a meeting. Which was the other interesting thing today. Was I had a meeting with my local Arboretum's living collections curator. Curator? I'm not sure how you'd say that, but basically just going over what my idea is for using that plant data to create an app that puts information about those plants in the palm of visitors' hands. And I think that went over fairly well. It's the first time I've had a meeting in over a month now. So and I'm about to jump back into that. I'm hopefully not right back into that. I'm looking forward to not having a ton of meetings and being able to do actual work with my new place for a bit. I imagine over the next year or so, I'll probably end up ramping up into other roles, but I'm going to enjoy, while I can, not being in a ton of meetings and just being told here's some things to do, go get them done, let us know how you're doing. No problem. I just found out today and the end of last week that I still rather enjoy doing that task level stuff still. And it's it's just a puzzle. Like, it feels like a puzzle. Like, I don't feel like I'm really working when I'm doing that. I'm just trying to solve something that's sitting in front of me, and I feel good after I've solved it. And I'm doing that essentially for free right now with my own projects. I really enjoy getting paid to just solve puzzles for fun. So that's that. But one of the things to keep in mind, I did at the end of last week, maybe it was at the beginning of last week, I can't remember. I put together an agenda for my meeting today, and boy, was that like a really nice thing that Past Me did for me, because I was so worried going into this meeting, and I don't know why. Like, I think I felt this at my previous employer too. Also, sorry if it looks like I'm getting like glossy here. It's a little warm in here, and I think I closed the window and I turned off the fan so there wasn't like a lot of extra noise, but it is a little warm in here. We're hitting like 80-degree days, and it's not even summer yet, so fun things in store, I guess. Probably if I turn on the air conditioning, you'd hear that too. Yeah, so I guess you're just going to deal with watching me be sweaty here. I don't know, it doesn't really look that bad. Maybe when people look back, it'll be like, oh, you're actually like, I can see like the reflection of your camera off your forehead. Anyway, really helpful putting together that agenda, because meetings for me, even with my last employer, like I was about to say, I feel like I get like a really weird tension like before going into meetings, especially meetings where I feel like I have to perform for people. Essentially, I have something I want to say, and I want to convince other people of this thing that I'm going to say. And I always get like really worried about those meetings. Like, it feels like really, really stressful. Like, it's like something bad can happen. I don't know how to describe that feeling that I get, but it's just like a feeling in my heart. It just gets really heavy or constricted, and it's just like something can go wrong here, and I just have to think about it. It's like, I'm just talking to people. They're other people. It doesn't matter what they say or don't say during this thing, but it doesn't matter to like whatever my head is thinking. It's very nerve-wracking, and it makes me almost uncomfortable and sweaty and things like that, things of that nature. And I was definitely worried about it going into that. And I remembered today, it's like, oh yeah, Past Me decided to do myself a favor and put together an agenda, which I was able to go over basically all the way through. And I think like these people were probably like, well, a volunteer just came to us and they say they have an idea and we want to hear them and, say thanks for your hard work and things, and then just leave it at that. And I had a feeling of like I went above and beyond their expectations during that meeting, which is a good a good like feeling to have afterwards. Like, it could have just ended like, oh yeah, that's cute. It's like somebody has an idea and they're an idea person and they don't know all of what goes into having something be done. And like their IT person was just like, we've got projects like lined up for the next like 1 to 2 years, and we're not sure if we'd be able to do something like this. And that's fine. I'm like, that's fine. I'm not asking you to change your roadmap. I'm just letting you know that I want to build an app. And if you don't want to do it yourself and find value, I would be fine selling you access to this thing, or selling your visitors access to this rather. So it was kind of nice coming out of that. Even though I basically just got told it's like, we don't really have the time or capacity to do this kind of thing. We've got a bunch of other things going on. We're interested in the idea and where you take it. And I did get at least some permission to at least keep prototyping with their data and on their grounds, just as long as I don't like go to production essentially with their data, even though it's public. Like it's out there for people to see, and it's mostly just there for like researchers and educators to have access to and things like that. And I want to make that more available to a lot more people. And that could be something that they're worried about. And I do want to do all the right things and ask for the right permission for using that data in the way that I want to. So I at least got to that point where they're like, yeah, we'll see if they're okay with you using data in that way longer term. And if that is something that we want to do, then we'll definitely be in touch. And I'm like, that's something I'd be super thrilled to do. It's like, I'm not at a point where I can prototype or demo a prototype for you, but I'd be very much excited to do that when I get there. And I hope what I've described today is at least enticing enough for you to be like, yeah, you know what? We're interested in that. Like, you go do this and bring it back and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, like whenever you can, like if you're going to be talking with other people, like make it a priority, honestly, to jot down what it is that you want to do. Like walk through in your head what you want to talk about in this discussion. And like, even in my case, it's like bake in your pauses. Like remember not to talk all the time. Say what you want to say, leave some time for people to give feedback and respond to those, and then get back on track. Give yourself notes on how to segue into that. Like give yourself like whatever it is. I forget what they're called in like plays where you write like notes in the script for things that are going to happen that aren't things that should happen that aren't like actual lines of dialogue or monologue. I forget what they're called. That's gonna bug me. Like I should know what that is. Something note. It's got to be something note. It's just bugging me. Oh well, I'm gonna try and forget that, but I won't. I'll probably be worried about. I'm not worried about it. Bugged by it as we're going through this. But having those notes to let you know, it's like, okay, here's where I want to pause and ask for some feedback and just at least take some inventory on what they're looking like. Do they seem interested? Do they seem confused? Should I elaborate on some things, or should I give them time to think about it or bounce questions and things like that, and then get back on track and talk about the next things that you want to do? Just leave yourself a roadmap to follow throughout that discussion so that you're never quite lost. You don't start rambling, because I can do that. Anybody watching these knows I can ramble really well, frankly. So having that diagram for how to navigate this conversation is just super duper helpful. So maybe that's a takeaway for this one. I had a meeting, passed me, left me notes for how to navigate that meeting, and it's been a while since I've done that kind of thing, so I'm glad that it stuck with me even over the course of a month, that is the right thing to do. And when you do have to have a conversation with somebody, like a planned conversation where you have some type of goal, be sure you know how you're going to navigate that conversation going into it. Because if all you've got is talking about how excited you are about this idea you have, that's not going to get you anywhere. Like people are going to like probably sense that you're excited about something, but they're not going to walk away like knowing what you wanted to convey, and you're not going to walk away with any next steps for what you should be doing either. You just conveyed that you were a very excitable person who's excited about this thing you're excited about. Lots of exciting. So good thing to keep in mind. And probably another thing there is just like understand what the conversation is for. Like for me, I knew I wanted to at least progress more in that. Am I allowed to use this data in the way that I'm thinking? Is there at least some interest from a leadership perspective of the thing I'm building, even if there isn't much from an audience perspective yet that they're aware of, that at least that's conveyed, and I have next steps coming out of it, which I do. I know more about the target audience of the Arboretum than I did before. I know where these people I'm talking to sit as far as their interest in this thing, as well as like more of an idea of who they are and how to talk with them more in the future. And they in turn have a few action items for me, which is good. Successful meeting. Things went pretty well. Anyway, keep that in mind when you're having conversations. Plan conversations where you're doing convincing or something like that. You're never going to be prepared for every conversation you have. So for the ones that you do know are coming up and you do know you want to convey some thought, do yourself a favor. Prepare a little bit. Don't just go in there and be excited or not know what you're going to do. It's a little bit of a waste of time. I think that's probably why people think that meetings are where work goes to die, unless you are prepared and you know how to use the tool effectively. So I think it's just a nice reflection of I still know how to use that tool effectively. And that was a nice thing to go out in this you're only working for yourself month of my 2021. Still working on this thing, just slower than I have been, and we'll see kind of where it goes from there. All right. Well then, hope you're having a wonderful Monday, and we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.